It's a beautiful Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I never do this alone. I have my co-hosts here. Guest co-host for the show in the building. Yo. All our news anchors have been on this week. We had Ngozi on Friday. We had Gucci yesterday.
And apparently it's my turn.
So, good to have you on.
Good to be here.
Good.
Really, thank you.
Good to be here, the broadcasters. How you doing, Esther?
I know, gearing up for, the whole launch of Radio Continental. So yeah,
we're all looking forward to
it. Yeah, and getting set for everything. And I just want to tell the listeners and the listener that they're in for a turnaround.
Good. How you
and
doing,
everyone is
Elijah?
worried about what to wear. It's a red carpet affair.
Really?
What are
I'm
they
about to go
wearing?
wear a pair of jeans.
Some say it's a cocktail.
How do you know?
Because honestly, I can't kill myself.
Really? I might get away with a pair of jeans, but you shouldn't. Get dressed.
Exactly,
please.
It's your show.
You know what? Ladies,
all.
after the show, will come and we talk about the dress.
Okay. Nima, how are you?
Nima is fine. Nima is very grateful this morning. I got home early yesterday and found out that someone was potty training my son.
Oh.
Me, the mother, I didn't have any clue what to do and when to do it. I thought
you had one before now.
I have, but this one has a mind of his own. This is a boy, and I didn't know all this while she had been potty training him. Teaching him how to say we and all
Trust
that.
me.
Nima just,
it's a different ball game. Pressing it down because
he was doing the
sprayed all over.
Exactly.
I had to teach my son to keep press it down. He can't have it sprinkling all over.
And he doesn't talk yet. Yes, he was complying with her. And
any gist for us? How are you doing? How's family? You have a teenager daughter. When they see you and they see that it's a hot babe like this. You're very close to grandma
on national TV.
Oh, sorry, I do apologize. But you're hot, baby.
She's almost getting out of her teenage years, as a matter of fact.
Imagine that. Look how beautiful you look. Good to have you. So any interesting thing about you want to share?
Yes, Monday was my mother's 80th birthday.
Wow. Happy birthday, Fadishala's mom.
Wow.
Her name is Mabel Olufunke. She rose me up. I lived with her as a child. My real mother is late, so she is the mother I have left.
Fantastic.
And it was such a grand occasion. We wanted it to be quiet. She didn't want a big party, and eventually the whole family was there, and we were happy that she was happy at the end of the day. Friends from TVC came. My friends from my secondary school were there. It was really nice.
Whoa.
80.
80.
That's a big age. Tokwe, how are you?
I'm very good. Let me use Nima's terms. Tokwe is good. Tokwe is working harder. She needs to recruit makeup artists. So if you're a professional makeup artist and you're looking for work, you are good. I saw some pictures that I questioned the training school they went to. Please, I'll tweet my information. I'm asking you to come and work because I'm overworked at the moment. So we're recruiting.
And actually, we're also looking for a lady of your view.
Yay!
Looking to add a lady of your view. Trying to add one more person to the ladies of your view, and it's an advantage if you're a non-Yoruba, please. it's an added advantage if you are non-Yoruba. But we'd like to definitely at some point we'll put it online. We'll say on Instagram. We should give details. We need one person just to join the team. So hopefully, if you know anybody who is eloquent, has an opinion, let us know. We'll bring them on.
Beautiful like Mariah.
A news mission today. Today is World Vasectomy Day, and it's a day set aside to raise global awareness for vasectomy as a solution to prevent unintended pregnancies. So do you know anyone who's had a vasectomy?
Nope. It's not an African thing.
Benoni.
But it's a family plan. It's not a negative thing.
It's family planning.
You say that. I actually know one person.
Are you serious?
I don't know more than one, but I know one person, and he's
That's
Nigerian.
removed.
And he's Nigerian?
Yes, he's Nigerian.
Hey.
Wow.
And if he's watching, he's in his 50s.
Wow.
And I think he had it done quite early.
Wow. Interesting. Let's take a
No
break.
one wanted belly.
So you can't lie until you got belly for you.
Exactly.
And the funny thing,
we have to go.
You all know him.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, let's start with the punch. State governors demand fresh bailout from Buhari. President knocks governors for owing salaries. Poverty biting harder, lawmakers tell federal government. Picture here of parents evacuating their children from Port Harcourt school after rumors of poisonous vaccination by the military. Alleged falsehood, I'm ready to defend myself in court, says Misal. Hoodlums invade dump as police burn 50 million naira worth narcotics. Some Egypt clinics stealing kidneys. Federal government warns Nigerians. So don't be going to Egypt for Medicare. Why I deserve to be Are on Okanka, says Adams. Herdsmen attacks, Plateau youths right Buhari, say over 100 killed. I can't continue to stay alone. 87-year-old lawyer defends his wedding. PDP, I won't go back to my vomit, says Obasanjo. Court orders Abaribe to produce Kanu. Senator seeks to end shortyship. And a brilliant University of Ilorin student dies 5 days to graduation. Cholera and measles kill 56 in Borno and Kanu, and inflation drops marginally to 15.98%.
Yes.
I only have the human angle of the 80-something-year-old
87
Baba that got married to a 40-year-old young lady. And he said that, his children have, they've grown up, they have their businesses, their careers, they're married, they have their own families, and he's alone. And I think it's a good thing, It's
the man said his wife died in 1991. Between 1991 and now, how have you been managing yourself?
But as you
but
get older, you need companionship.
children.
Companionship. And
I'm sure he found someone that
he really... He was a former senator, lawmaker, so the guy got cash.
It doesn't matter. If
Just
you like,
saying,
companionship
he needs
is good.
companionship.
Okay.
To the inflation rate, yesterday, for the 8th time since the beginning of January, our inflation rate dropped again, and that's from like 16.01 to from 0.5 is now about 15.58 or something.
15.58.
For 5.8, and that's really credible.
This
So
beautiful young lady that died at the University of Ilorin, they didn't really tell us the cause of death. But it was 5 days for her graduation. They said she had a brief illness. She was complaining about her hand hurting her. And after then...
5 days.
5 days to graduation. Very, very sad. Very beautiful lady.
and she must have graduated already just for the party, the convocation.
Alright,
for life.
Moving on to The Nation. Buhari frowns at state's inability to pay workers. How can anyone go to bed and sleep soundly when workers have not been paid their salaries for months? I actually wonder how the workers feed their families, pay their rent, and even pay school fees for their children. That's our president talking. Court orders Abaribe to produce Kanu. Pressure on Senate panel to drop $20 billion at contracts probe. And Obasanjo, I'm done with PDP. Who read that about
I did. Obasanjo yesterday was visited by the McAfee-led committee, and he went with a delegation. And in 2015, Obasanjo tore his PDP card, membership card that he's not. So he was telling them that what we need right now is an opposition or even a party that is more interested in the people and making sure that.
What was interesting about that conversation, Esther, that he said we need a strong party, and a strong opposition.
Opposition,
and I said the president, the McAfee has come to greet me, and I have greeted him back.
But I've
so
never
now that we have greeted ourselves, you media people, you can now go. There's nothing else.
There's no story to
imply that there's nothing.
Totally done.
Yeah, so I'm not going back to the
don't
party.
start reading meanings into the fact that he came to see me. It's just a normal greeting.
But even outside partisan politics, I still expect that, having led Nigeria twice, that he should take up that role of statesmanship and be very vocal and speaking against.
I don't see anybody else as vocal as him. Former president as vocal as him.
Yeah, he is.
Even on the international scene.
Yes, I see that on the international scene.
Moving on now to Daily Sun. Governors demand 760 billion naira refund. Give 2 weeks deadline on Paris Club balance. And panic in Rivers. Ondo over Army's free drugs. Parents withdraw kids from school. Kanu's surety Abaribe lands in trouble. 2019, I have no VP ambition, says Wike. PDP, we are finished if we elect wrong chairman, says Jonathan. And NNPC probe intrigues as Wamako visits Aso Rock. Obi left me with 127 billion naira debt, says Obiano.
So I have two stories.
Yeah.
The governor's demand and the Abaribe story that I wanted to take. But one, yesterday a delegation of state governors led by the chairman of the Governors Forum, Abdulaziz Yari, went to visit the president, demanding that the refund should be paid to them, totaling 760 billion naira, and that they have been unable to pay staff salaries. They need this fund to do that. While I also watched on TV yesterday the response of Benue State Governor, who is also owing about over 6 months salary, and is facing crisis, mentioning that the burden of salaries of 8 billion naira is too much for any state to carry, and that he plans to break it down. There are conditions towards the payment of the Paris Fund. Some of them have contravened this condition because they don't have the...
Including the leader of the Governors Forum.
So I feel really, really sad, and this is my opinion, that we keep having governors go cap in hand to the center to get cash. Right. When you have resources within your state that you have not maximized, when you are employed, when you are voting as a governor, it's because you think that you have the solution to the problems within your state, and the state has enough resources within your control
and you're not
that you have not maxed out.
Those in the National Assembly are trying to push for devolution of powers, so everybody can then harness the resources.
Each governor has 3 members.
They are governors, so they are immune to any criminal prosecution in any way.
For now.
Governors under this forum, especially the Zamfara State Governor, for instance, is being investigated by the EFCC for abuse of this particular Paris refund.
They are trying to...
Would one of them just build a statue for
the
Zuma and had the birthday of 26
So we have issues around this. And, if they get this money, like the president was saying, his concern is that, workers should get their salary.
That's why I come back to the
they
president.
have needs for their money. Our governors should be selfless.
Sorry?
The first batch
they
didn't pay the workers.
Exactly.
So what's the guarantee that they get the second one, the workers will be paid?
Exactly.
I'm trying to answer the president for what he said, that how do people sleep when people have not been paid? Yes, they sleep under air condition, no mosquito, and they lie down in a very comfortable bed, and they eat well before they go to bed. That's how they sleep.
Unfortunately, Kano's
water beds, for that matter,
Abaribe and Co. have been asked by the court to either produce Kano or forfeit the bail bond of 100 million naira. No, it's sad that, his lawyer was saying that he has brought an application to withdraw as shorty. I wish he had done that application to get his discharge when Kanu flouted all the bail terms.
Right, initially, yes.
But I don't know how legal that is. I mean, you offer yourself as shorty for a bail condition for someone, and then you say the guy disappears. You're supposed to make sure he doesn't disappear. Yeah. That's why you're the shorty.
Exactly.
Why it's too late at this time.
I'll still take it on that paper.
Governors demand 50% balance of Paris Club refund. We don't talk about these children that they were just, the kids, the parents were taking them out in Port Harcourt. Pandemonium in Ondo Rivers over monkeypox. Which story? I am not too young to be Are on Okankan for that's Gani Adams. IPOP produced Kano in court, or that's talking to Abaribe. So these children...
I watched TVC yesterday, prime time news at 10 p.m. and I saw that they showed parents going to pick up their kids in Akure. Some crying that, give me my child, I don't want my child to die, I'd rather take my child. And I was wondering, where did they see any military official? None of the TV clips showed any military official. The head teacher of the schools were saying that we did not know what happened. We were in school and suddenly they are saying that they want to come and pick up their children.
Even our correspondent said he searched and he didn't find
nobody. Baseless rumor.
The military has come out to say that they did not authorize any such military intervention in any way.
But there's an allegation.
And the state governments are saying, no, these are allegations. They are baseless because they've not been proven. Even the parents are picking up their children, are just running around because they've heard something scary. Nobody can prove anything.
The story from River State was that the parents were saying that the teachers called them to say that they heard that they'll be coming to the school to forcefully immunize. So the agitation was from the teacher's side. Okay. And then the parents now rushed to go and pick their children that if you don't meet my child in school, you won't forcefully immunize. No. But people are saying that there was a school that some people came in military uniform and forcefully immunized. There is no picture of what happened.
Now, there's an allegation. The authorities should be investigating and making sure that whoever is impersonating military officials or anybody to, to carry out this should be fished out.
And the spokesperson in Ondo actually did say that there was nothing like that. They never
somebody should anything like that. If somebody is mischievous here,
yes, on the social media.
Okay, let's move on now. Unfortunately, we can't take any more people, but let us read the headlines of this day. Kachuku's letter, presidency lobbies Senate committee, 6 stops lining for Baru. Saraki, why another attempt at devolving power may fail. Buhari seeks National Assembly approval for 2018-2020 MTEF. And that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, Kaduna teachers begin a 3-day prayer and fasting.
Why is your wish 3?
Over the state's plan to sack 20,000. And later on Let's Talk, we discuss better ways of using the internet for children. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So the Nigeria Union of Teachers Zaria Local Government branch begins 3 days of fasting and prayers to seek God's intervention on the planned sack of 20,000 primary school teachers. According to the report that we read, Kaduna State government had conducted an examination for primary school teachers in the state and said 68% of the teachers did not pass the primary 4 pupils exam at excellent level. Now, what are your thoughts on this? It's your view, let it count. Also, tweets was at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. So, the issue of the fact that yes, teachers took an examination and they couldn't pass a primary 4 exam, that's one problem. Problem 2 is that, okay, fine, we didn't pass. They want to sack 20,000 of us. We need to pray and fast. The solution to this problem is not to go and read and try to do a receipt, but to actually pray fast and let God just turn this around. What do you make of this?
Mediocrity, in one word. That's what it is. I mean, how can you be a teacher and then you can't pass primary 4 grade examination, and then you're saying that you want to go and pray? How is the prayer supposed to, how does that transit to passing or moving on to another stage? It just doesn't make sense to me.
The hypocrisy of Western education is displayed in this whole system. Because, you know, we need a certificate to get white collar job. You just go and buy it. You get white collar job. You're a teacher supposed to be passing the education, the level of knowledge that you're supposed to have acquired to a child that you do not have. And when they talk, you go and pray and fast because you just need a white collar job. You're not improving yourself in any way. The whole essence of the schooling and everything
is as hypocrisy of the Western education. Why is the Western? Why not just education?
The form of education that we had as Africans were passed over. You just had to know it is within the house. But the old, I went to school, you know, was given to us. It's a form of education that I think that Africans have not really come to terms with. We are just going to school. A lot of people are just going to school to have a title, doctor, whatever, to their name, to the extent that it's a big issue.
What I'm hearing,
so you're a teacher.
Let me understand, sorry. Are you saying that if those teachers were tested in maybe the social values of Africans or the Africanness of who we are,
if we evolve with time, with the kind of things that we knew, our craft, our knowledge, you know, those kind of things that were African, they would naturally be qualified to pass it on.
Nima, let me remind you, okay?
Most of them would have an English certificate, a C4 in English. They can't even speak good English. Right. They would have, you know, and it's all about having the certificate.
Gotcha.
Okay, Nima, you mentioned that the Western education, I think that we have not decided on how we want to educate ourselves. So we glorify the fact that certification beyond knowledge of the skill you're supposed to have. So you're supposed to teach a primary 3 person, teaching primary 3, you should have knowledge, basic understanding of all you want to impact. But all we focus on when we are employing that teacher is the certificate that the person can teach, as opposed to capacity to impact knowledge, which is that we pass out half-baked students. However, there is a problem on ground. With the 40,000 teachers already on ground, one teacher is still teaching 200 pupils due to shortage. So when you want to sack, what is the plan to ensure the children still get educated? Prayer is not the resort for me.
It's not the
This
answer.
morning, I was listening to my pastor's message saying that for every successful person out there, they have done the work. We use prayer to stop ourselves from doing the work, hoping that grace would give us what we have not earned. You are meant to work. Grace will support you, but you are meant to work. So these people do not declare 3 days prayer or 7 days fasting and prayer to reduce being sacked, to stop being sacked. They should rather declare 3 days of intensive study and receipt the exam to pass. That way they would earn their place as teachers.
I'll come back to Nima on the issue of what you're testing them on. Excuse me, you will test people on what they are teaching. You will not test them on cultural values or other things when they are teaching something else. And when they're teaching mathematics, quantitative reasons, or whatever thing they're teaching. Then number two, let's go back to Ekiti State some years back when Fayemi did this examination for teachers and some of them failed and they were going to be removed. A lot of outcry was that he was degrading them, he was insulting them, he was disgracing. No, Fayemi.
No, Oshomole did it too.
Yes, same thing happened in that he was degrading them, he was insulting them. Some people even said that he shouldn't have even published the results, that is one of the reasons why it did not come back for another term, because the civil servant felt slighted. But that is the right thing to do.
Well, you know, beyond all of this, the gist behind it, or the truth behind it, is that Governor El-Rufai had said initially, before the test was taken, that those who fail that exam he will do something else for them, and then it won't be a case of sacking them. So that too is a problem. I mean, where does how do you go from we will do something else for you, and then you change it to you're going to be sacked?
That's him confirming what he said. You know, he said that, you know, employing teachers over the years have been about politics. It's been politicized. You know, you settle your people and who you know, that kind of thing. So it goes back to, you know, what we're saying. What people are qualified in, we are not sincerely building anything.
And then again,
that's why our education system has failed.
So how do you, the results are not out.
Some people had already seen that they were going to, the inclination from what they've seen is that there's a mass failure 75%. From 75% of the students. However, what I think the governor should do, which is most important, is to ensure...
And that there was a particular grading. It was supposed to be like 60% pass mark, and then they raised the bar and made it 75%.
So what I expect, because there's no use just complaining, we have issues with our educational sector. There's a major problem. The interview yesterday of Rivers children in the school, and even Ondo State, when they were speaking, I was wondering, are you not being taught in English? You can't even put it together. So there's a problem. How do we solve it? Train the teachers adequately. Train the teachers adequately.
But, yes. That's one angle, Tokwe. Yes. But the other angle I want us to address is that when there's a problem, why is our first step prayer and fasting?
We're religious.
Why is it that even from the teaching level, the first thing you do, because for me, it just reminds me of exactly what happened with Port Harcourt. You hear something, you don't confirm, you just take it like that as it is, and you rush there to pick up your child without even confirming from the school authorities and find out what's going on here.
You are not analytical.
So why is it? What has happened to our brain?
Going back to our spiritual leaders, how many of them tell the people the truth? Because sometimes you want people to patronize the church or the mosque, and you make their mind feel that the only thing that they have as the solution to their problems is actually praying, instead of letting them be out there and working hard to get what they need to get.
Esther, the testimony you would get from this fasting and prayer is that after 3 days of fasting and prayer, they go to church. My name was not on the list, even though you got 50%. My name, God did it. My name was not on the list. That is not the way God did it. And everybody be clapping.
Let me take this call from Kalu. Kalu, are you there?
Yes.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm still here.
Go ahead, Kalu.
Hello?
We can hear you. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, thank you so much for what you guys are doing over there. God bless you. And this is the first time caller.
Yay.
Yeah, this is the first time caller. Forget about what Aerophile are doing. Forget about the government of Kaduna State are doing. This is very wrong. You owe the teacher for 1 year to 2 years. You want to let them off now. Is that right thing to do? Are we sure that if Aerophile sit an exam, can he pass?
Sorry, I don't understand what he's saying.
He's alleging that they are being old, and that, you know, they are letting them go because, you know, they want to they want to downsize the teaching capacity in the state. I don't know whether they are being old, but I know that when somebody is being let go from the job, there's an amount of money they will pay them. What I believe is that if the governor is sincere in this, you know, in sanitizing the whole education system, if he's letting them go, he pays them off, and then employs qualified teachers who have been tested, who is sure can give the requisite knowledge to the children.
They are there. Now that question
every day
of employing qualified teachers, that's one problem when it comes to recruiting in Nigeria. Do people really get jobs because they're qualified?
We can't even afford the qualified ones, really.
Exactly.
Okay.
Can we afford the qualified? These are states that are going cap in hand to the federal government.
No, they can afford it. There are some people that are willing to collect anything just to do the job because they don't have a choice and they are qualified.
People, I think we should even look deeper before we run off, because the people that go to the College of Education are people that did not successfully go through their JAMB enough to qualify for university and polytechnics. That is how we place our college of education. So you go, you get into that place. You go to class. The teachers that are teaching you are also not really interested in teaching you. You pass out and hoping to get a job, and you have to be connected and pay your way into getting the job. The system is warped to favor those that really desire to teach. Right. So those that are already teaching, don't sack them. Just train them.
Point.
I disagree.
Tweet. You disagree. Go ahead. Let's take a break. When we come back, any other thoughts on this for Dishala? All right. Let's take a break. Now, when we come back, our next topic is better ways to use the internet. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. The digital age has evolved without the children being left out. Report has it that 1 in 3 children around the world now use the internet. As well as children need quality content to stimulate their imagination and help them to learn. Also, the skills and tools for using the internet safely and responsibly. Now, what are the better ways of using internet by children? Joining us on the show is a Strategic Officer and Educational Advancement Center, Muyiwa Bambushi. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
It's your view. Tweet was at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so children and internet. Every parent wants the children to be in the jet age, to be part of this new space of internet. But at the same time, there are fears of what time do we start exposing them to internet? How much is too much internet? How much is too much access? Let's even say, should kids even be exposed to internet, and at what age should they start being exposed to internet?
Well, you see, life is full of all kinds of dangers. It's like saying cars knock kids down, and so kids shouldn't go into cars. The internet is the new world, whether we like it or not. It's the new world. Things are changed. I won't say they're changing, they're changed. Banking has changed, health system has changed, communication has changed, and all that. And so internet is a must. So the key to me is, how do we ensure that the kids are protected from the dangers on the internet while having access to the goodies on the internet? Because if we keep them out, they're going to belong to the past years in the world that they are going to grow up in. Because the kids all over the world, they are all on the internet. Practical case, 2 years ago, my oldest granddaughter came from UK. She was 9 then. And I told her something about chroma key on television. I said, oh, that's how they do this, the weather. You know, there's nothing in the studio, but the person has the thing added. And I didn't see her for 5 minutes. The next time it came up and she said, oh, yeah, that's chroma key. Granddad. I said, yeah, okay. How did you know? She said, well, and she says they have a green background in the studio. I looked at her, I said, I didn't tell you. She said, I just Googled it. 5 minutes. She had more information. So, you know, if our kids grow up shielded from what is available to the world, then they're going to be non-entities. They're going to be unfit. We talk about people not being employable today. They will be much more unemployable.
I read something yesterday of a boy that was seeking for help from Nigerians, that at 9 or 7 he got exposed to, you know, wanting to be with same kind of sex based on what he saw on the internet. And that even his parents tried as much as possible to block them out of it, but he still wriggled his way into seeing it. How careful can you be that no matter how you block those things, that these children would not still have access to it?
You see, the thing is to educate them properly. In school, the same thing can happen. He can get exposed in school, in the park. You know what I'm saying is these dangers, they exist all over the place. It's just that internet concentrates it. Okay, and that should really make it easier for us to control. If I know that this is an interest, this is an attraction to kids, then I should get involved in it. You know, there are some, if you look online, there are some do's and don'ts for parents. Don't allow your kid to use the internet alone. You know, you got to have access to what the person is doing. And there are tools, there are devices to monitor, to mirror.
You can mirror. Yeah,
you can mirror what your child is looking at or none. Although if the child finds out, they can lock you out, you know. But there are systems, especially if they're using the Wi-Fi at home. If you have a Wi-Fi at home, you can put filters, you can put controls, you can monitor. Because if we don't guide them, then they will get into it, whether we know or not.
How do we, over the weekend, we had a parenting workshop in my daughter's school. And one of the sessions was on the negative side of the internet. And we were emphasizing the laziness attached to searching on Google. You know, it takes away that book reading ability where the child goes to the library. A lot of students, because we had a workshop, skill presentation sometime, and parents just gave their children their phones to search out topics, printed, and that's how they came. I was on one of the panel and they were just giving us Googled researches and that laziness. How do we combat that? Because, you know, our times when the hard work was done and now when everything is easy, you know, just a click away.
Quick addition, because you've been pushing the hard work matter, and people always wonder, is the internet going to make us lazy? That's what she's saying now, because if you can Google it, then you're not having to really do work.
The books are probably outdated. The updated ones are probably online. Because if you go and read the book, okay, let me
yeah, because you have to balance it. You see, the internet does not make you lazy, but it gives you access to much more.
A lot.
Much more. It's because we don't have the tools to cope. Let me tell you, unfortunately, parents and adults, we don't have the tools. There's what we call Turnitin. There's Grammarly. If you give me materials, I will tell you in a second where you got them from. It's all available. So, I mean, my grandkids, they will tell you that in the school, at primary, they're advised, you can take information from the internet, but you must take it with a pinch of salt. They are told not to take anything verbatim. You see the kind of things that happen in Nigeria. People get WhatsApp messages, they forward it. I'm sending it as I was given. And a lot of falsehood, they lost. I mean, it's not just kids that are guilty. You know, you have access to so much information on the internet. And you can take what is important from each one and get a better thing than sitting down to read. Hard work is not what's going to make you to succeed. It's smart work.
Smart work.
Okay.
What I mean, I tell people, the biggest companies in the world now, the richest ones, are not the ones digging things and climbing and knocking things. They are information, Facebook, Google. They're the ones that are the biggest. It's not hard work, it's smart work now.
Let me take this call from Taiwo. Taiwo, are you there? Hello, Taiwo. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
I want to contribute on that of health issue. Hello?
We can hear you very clearly. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Please, I went to school in Kaduna. The essays to the governor. In fact, the essay on environment. If he's given the test, he cannot pass it. We are police in Kaduna State. Why is he intimidating the teachers? He should go and train them first. All his appointees, you give them those tests, whether they will pass the test. Thank you very much.
All right, point taken. Yes.
So I have a question, sir.
Yes.
50%, and I watched it yesterday, that 50% of Nigeria is still not on the internet. And we keep saying the internet is the future. we are training children that are unemployable because they are not up to the world standard and we have a global village. So a lot of people are training abroad and coming to take jobs in Nigeria. How can we bridge the gap in terms of giving our access to, let's not even say children, let's giving access to students, internet access to students so they can broaden their education?
Yeah, I think a lot of this is in the hand of government. Government should help in making the infrastructure available. Internet is available in Nigeria, it's just that it is erratic and it's expensive. When you look at how much it will cost you to get 1 gigabyte in Nigeria compared to other places in the world, I mean, it's so much. I mean, what you spend on a gigabyte, that's 1,000 naira, which will convert to $3, could almost give you a week unlimited in many countries abroad. So government should know that, yeah, we failed in some areas. You know, this is one way to leapfrog, to catch up with the world. If we can just make sure that there's internet that is reliable, that is affordable.
So what can government do to make it available? Because recently they reversed, you know, the rating tariffs are on internet, and you know people had issues about it. And you're saying now that it's not the same in other areas in the world. What can government do consciously to reverse that trend?
Well, government should support the telcos. You know, let me tell you, most of their expenditure is going on facilities that should be there, taken for granted. They all run generators. That's a big problem, okay? If government can subsidize the cost of running those things, you see, we can't blame them if they have to run 7,000 generators. You imagine how much you spend on one. So, yeah, people are paying money for tariff, but I tell you, a lot of the money is going on infrastructure.
Okay, let me take this call from Omolola. Are you there?
Yeah, I am.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to contribute to the topic of L5.
Yes, go ahead.
There's, I'm a first-time caller, and you people happen to be my husband's favorite.
Thank you.
I call you his girlfriend.
Thank you.
You're always supposed to watch the program. There's something that Tope Hawk is always saying, that people from College of Education, I attended College of Education in Ikere Ekiti, and I want you to know as a teacher, though I was going to teaching because the salary was not okay. I finished teaching, I went into banking. From banking, I went into public service. But my first love is teaching. I grew myself. My father was my role model. Nobody can teach your children. You have to groom your children. You are the first role model. I stand to be corrected anytime. I'm proud that I went to NC. So please, you have to correct that notion. Not all teachers that went to NC are half-baked or they don't know what to do.
Fantastic. Well done. Thank you very much, Omolola.
Thank you, Omolola. Please, I want to ask you a question because people are watching now and wondering, okay, so I want my child to be informed, but I'm worried. Are there tools, do you have tools that we can, as parents, use to censor some of the things that, because you can, if I give my son my phone or a laptop, he can just Google something that's the most ridiculous things, and even if you don't Google it right, Google will give you suggestions on what they think you should be asking. So is there an app that I can use to block access to some negative things?
Yeah, I mean, to start with, introduce the child, you know, let them know the do's and the don'ts from the word go. And then stay on with them. Stay on. In the early days, you got to stay on. It's like you don't just bring up your baby and put food in front of the baby and say, begin to eat. Okay, so we have to spoon feed them to start with. Now, when you form the habit in them, they will know what to do. Now, there are ways of bringing parental filters. There are different kinds of commercially available parental filters which you can install on devices, okay, and which will control where the kid can go, and which can also alert you. Then you can also have mirrors. I like the ones that are the mirrors. Let the kid seem to have a freedom, and then you can monitor what the kid is doing.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back with tweets, stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So now, as a parent, everybody's saying, expose your child to the internet, let them be online. And you don't even know what to do. You're thinking, okay, do I give them my phone? If I give them my phone, either they're playing with games, they're downloading Subway Surfers, playing all these, there's nothing educative about what they're doing. So as a parent, how do I ensure that they're doing more than just playing games? How do what kind of sites do I go to? Well, how can I get them interested in educative materials online?
Oh, okay, good. Now, there's so many things you can do. You can bring down the stuff and let them access them offline. A lot of the useful materials now have offline. You get an app, especially if you have Android, and then you download it. So you give them what they need. Right. That's one way. The other way is also to put what you can call like a wall, a security wall. That's easy if you're using a router rather than using the phone. Because on the phone, you already have the internet sitting on the device. But if you use a router, like maybe you buy, all these ones that you put somewhere and everybody can connect. Now you can configure those things. You can install some. I don't want to market anybody's product. You can put in some filters, okay, that will make some sites no-go, or that will alert you, okay? So you can even make some sites not available, okay? So you can do that. So anybody wants to get internet in your house, logs on, is automatically behind a firewall.
All right.
Or kind of.
Let me take this call from Buki. Buki, are you there from Akure?
Yes, I'm here.
Please go ahead.
Okay. I am Buki. I'm calling from Akure.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I'm here. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Yes, I just want to contribute to the use of internet by our children.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. At what age do I introduce the internet to my children?
Fantastic question. Yes.
Yeah, I would say it depends on the child. From 3, 4, some people begin to do things on the internet. Okay. So the earlier, the better. When you notice that your child is attracted to that. For my youngest grandchild, she's about 2 now. She knows YouTube logo. She's a small girl. She'll just pick your device and go on and on and on, and then she knows how to just pick YouTube. So at that point in time, you need to get interested in the child. So if you deprive them, you get them curious, you get them interested in... They sneak behind you.
Now, talking about that, when should you allow your child open a social media handle, maybe on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram? And some parents even open this account for their children, even at birth or whatever time. Is it right?
It's a gross abuse. It's not right. There's a minimum age, I think like 16, before you can stand on your own. I know even my oldest granddaughter now, who's 12, the mother is, I don't know how she's attached to her email. She's attached to it, so we should not just, take all these things. You were talking
about, creating protection around routers. I have a router at home. It has a password, and that's the only protection that I know. Do you need any additional knowledge to be able to?
Of course, you see, the password is to allow access. But then beyond the access, there's also control.
So you need to do research as parents.
There's control. You can find out about parental controls.
Okay.
When you have some of these modems to watch TV, like you don't call them modem, desktop, box tops, I'm trying to get the right word. The one you have a box and then there's parental control.
Yes,
so there are programs that the kids can't watch.
Let me take this call from Kaduna. Mohammed, are you there?
I'm there.
Go ahead. Thanks for calling.
Yes, I'm a first-time caller too.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, this is Mohammed from Regasa, Kaduna State. My contribution is to the internet issue. I think my advice is that the parents need to reorient their children right from the childhood stage.
Exactly.
Because we can't do without internet, but that doesn't mean that we need to take good care of our children. And I agree with the guest who is just speaking that the parents need to be following the footsteps of their children to know what they do, not even on the internet, even their day-to-day activities, because you need to monitor your children, because with what is happening today, you need to know the friends of your children and all those. I think the parents have a lot of work to do. That's my contribution.
All right. Thank you very much, Mohammed.
We have some tweets. MWPL says, parents should and must supervise their kids when surfing the internet. Okwabio Emmanuel says, it is very difficult for me to catch up with my friend who is a mechanic. That first orientation matters a lot. EMA Singh says, when children are exposed to the internet the right way, creativity will be easier and faster. Anya Adefemi says, these are the same people who will end up setting up private schools and government will do anything about it. About the previous topic, JK Wando says, while a child is having no access to internet, how now that we have, denying child opportunity is not good enough. EMA sings, expose your children to the internet and monitor them.
Okay. All right, so as we round up, what are your last words for parents out there? Because everybody wants to be part of this future and they want their children to be part of this future. How can we safely ensure our children are exposed to the internet yet getting the best of the internet?
Yes, you see, I've said a few suggestions, but the last one I want to say is constructive engagement. Get assignments, get things to be done on the internet for the kids. You know, there's no use asking somebody to stop smoking if you don't have something to replace. Okay. So education has become boring the way we do it. Black and white is not attractive. So we must get, you know, for example, where I work, we have what we call lesson teachers. Lesson teacher, we have videos. And you can say, okay, go watch this video, and then answer this question. If most of the time the kid is engaged doing something on the internet with the computers and all that, there will be less time for distraction. And you gradually build a habit. That's who we are. We are people formed out of habit. We form habits and habits form us. So form constructive habits in your kids. Do this one, instead of just saying, do the homework. Once you finish the homework that the teachers, and let me say this, a lot of teachers are lazy. The amount of homework they give for the kid is so, you know, so they just want to dump responsibility. So get them something that they would do on that device, so that by the time they are done with it, they don't have time going looking for dingo
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
That's all we can take on the show today. I hope you had fun as much as you did. You can watch Your View Prime Time at 8 p.m. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.